Hello and welcome to this mini painting tutorial where I'm going to show you how to paint this Rainbow Warrior's shining prismatic pearlescent power sword. If you're like, what's a Rainbow Warrior? Why does this power sword look like Skittles diluted in a big glass of water? Then that's an absolutely fair couple of questions, which hopefully I will answer if you watch my other YouTube video all about the Rainbow Warriors and their lore, with just a little bit of painting sprinkled in as well. Either way, to go alongside that video, I painted up an entire Rainbow Warrior Space Marine, and if you want to learn how I painted that Rainbow Warrior from start to finish, there is a full-length tutorial over on my Patreon. But I wanted to kind of isolate the prismatic power sword part and put it here on YouTube because I think it's really cool, it's super easy, and I just wanted to share it with as many people as possible, so hopefully you try it out yourself at home and you really like it. So without further ado, let's get cracking on painting this Rainbow Warrior's prismatic power sword. Now, for the power sword, I really did want to reference the source material on this because I think it's really cool. It's described in War at the Museum as being like oil slick in colour, and I love that kind of colour shift kind of imagery that comes to mind when you think of that, but I did still want this sword to be like a bright focal point on this miniature and to contrast against all that dark armour we just painted. So I settled on a lighter pearlescent sort of power sword, which still has those colour shift elements in it, and I think it looks really cool and it's really simple to do, so let's have a look at how I did it. So before we get on to the fun bit, we have to paint the rest of the sword first, and we're going to be starting with some really simple non-metallic golds around the hilt. So for the base coat, we're going to use some Vallejo burnt red, and for some reason after I finished base coating the gold, I moved straight onto the sword's grip, and we'll get back onto the gold soon, forgive me. For the sword's grip, we're going to paint it a dark pink colour, which should tie in nicely with our pink plasma weapon we did earlier. We're going to be base coating it using a 1-to-1 mix of Screamer Pink and Pink Horror in just a few thin layers. Then to build up those wrap details, we're going to highlight them using some Emperor's Children, followed up by a few tiny edge highlights using Warcolor's Titillating Pink. I decided this grip needed a bit of toning back, so at the end when I was finished, I went in with a glaze of Berserker Bloodshade to knock back some of those highlights a bit. And we are back onto painting gold again. Sorry about that little break. Anyway, to build up some of the more yellowy gold shiny areas, we're going to use some Vallejo flat earth in a few thin layers. And we're going to be concentrating those layers up and up until they are lightest in the areas of the hilt that we want to be the shiniest. Then to add a little more lightness and saturation to the gold, we're going to be mixing in a little bit of Aerial Yellow, and we're going to be focusing that new colour up into even higher and shinier points of the hilt. Next, to add a little more shine and definition, we're going to mix in some Vallejo off-white to the previous mix and use that new lighter colour to edge highlight all of our gold areas. Then to finish it off, we're going to add our usual point highlight of pure white. For the wee skull decoration, we're going to paint it in the same way we did the chest aquila, so again, super simple. We're just going to add a base coat of Celestra Grey and Proacryl White mixed together in a 1-to-1 mix, followed by a recessed shade of Vallejo Light Grey, and a final highlight of pure white. Now for the blade itself, we're going to start with a super light base coat, and for that we're going to apply some thin layers of pallid witch flesh. Since we're building up this colour over black, it's going to take a few layers to build up to a strong base coat, but just make sure you let your layers dry fully before applying another to make the base coat as smooth as possible. We're going to start creating two gradients on each half of the sword's blade, going in two different directions, starting with a bright pink. And for that, we're going to start by using some thin glazes of titillating pink, just under halfway down each end of the blade. We're going to start applying our glazes super subtly, lifting off our brush towards the end of the sword, making sure to build them up gradually until they're most concentrated towards the end of the sword and a smooth gradient appears from your lighter pallid witch flesh into this light pink. We're going to start applying the same methodology to the other ends of the blade, but this time using some Baharoth blue. Again, start this colour just under halfway down the blade on the other side, so there's still some pallid witch flesh showing in the middle, and build it up so it's most concentrated at the opposite ends of the blade. To move that blue colour into a more greeny blend, we're going to start glazing in a little Gauss Blaster green, again gradually using thin layers until it's most concentrated towards the ends. Then to make the ends look extra green and super saturated, we're going to finish off by glazing in a few tiny layers of phalanx yellow right at the very ends of the blue-green sections. To finish the whole blade off, we're going to apply a final super thin edge highlight using pure white. And I don't know about you, but I always struggle with the middle line of the sword. I don't know why. It's like I can't get my brush to like run across the line, and I can't paint it straight because my hands are shaky. But do your best to make it as straight as you can and not wonky like mine probably is. And if you've got any tips on how to paint the middly bit of a sword, let me know. And with that, your prismatic power weapon is done and ready to be bathed in the blood of your enemies. I used pretty saturated, almost pastel colours for this weapon, but I bet you could glaze in whatever bright colours you like for the same cool rainbow effect. If you enjoyed this tutorial enough to paint it up at home yourself, then please post a picture of it online and tag me in any of my socials so I can see it, or join in with us on our Discord, where we look at miniatures like this every day and we all kind of just go, oh yeah, cool sword, bro, cool sword, oh, you're smart, good at painting. It's a nice vibe, you should join in the Discord. And as usual, thank you so much for watching, I really hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for being rogues. I'll see you in the next one, bye!